Chapter 16, First Round of Edits and All the Pain. Once your first draft is finished, you have a choice. You can either take a break, work on something else for a while to clear your palette, or dive right into the first round of edits. I recommend taking a break for a few reasons. First, it allows you to gain some distance from your project, and lets you forget details. If we are too familiar with the story, our mind fills in details it knows rather than reading what's actually on the page. That's how we miss errors when we're doing a read-through of our own work. Our brain knows what it's supposed to say, and sometimes schemes the details, trusting them to be correct. It's also how we miss obvious clues about the setting or the character that are in our minds, but never made it into the story. This is where beta readers will come in, but that comes later. This first round is when you, the author, take a fresh look at your manuscript from the beginning. Even as an extreme planner, the shape and flavor of the novel will have changed from when you first started. There may be hints you left in Chapter 1 that you forgot to address later, or a subplot you added that needed a breadcrumb earlier on. Your main character may have morphed into a different personality than you originally planned. This read-through allows you to fix those continuity errors and tighten the consistency in plot, character, setting, and structure. While I percolated after the first draft, I'd emailed myself notes to fix the storyline as they occurred to me. This is more planning, pre-writing, making the most of the time you can't physically write to prepare for your limited keyboard time. This is also a time the plots refine in my mind. As I lay falling asleep, I decide I need another appearance from the bishop near the end, and I need to make certain another character forgets an important detail. Or I need to add a character. Perhaps I want to increase the tension in another scene. More description in that scene, less in the other. Add a character here. Increase the stakes there. No, that character should react more like this. And I have to do a complete read-through, yes, despite doing one on the first portion recently after I took my break, to make certain all the details, timeline, subplots mesh and agree. In my last novel, The Enchanted Swans, I had a shift in the children's ages, and got confused as to who was how old and when. But that novel took place over the course of 900 years. Since this new novel only takes place in a couple months' time, age isn't a factor, but the dates are. My climax scene is based on an historical battle that has a mostly precise date, late February, so I needed to make certain my timeline matched. Most of the characters are older. Passing time takes on less significance for adult characters than for children, at least in terms of their changing reactions to events. With a deep sigh, I open the manuscript, address any notes I've made above with spot changes, and dive into my least favorite part of the whole process. Wish me luck! I also find myself nixing my favorite words, such as just, simply, finally, could, perhaps / maybe, and the dreaded was and were, which often indicates passive voice. I try to minimize the word said, without using too many intrusive substitutes, such as he responded or she growled. Instead, I shift to action tags where I can. While there is nothing inherently wrong with any of these words, I know that I personally overuse them, and often the work is stronger if I remove them or at least change them up to offer the reader some variety. Was and were are different matters. Yes, they are required words. However, they often herald passive sentence structure. Active structure is more dynamic to a reader and allows for more immediate action. So, I minimize the use of these words during that read-through. This is not something you must do in this editing stage, but it should be something you take a look at some point.